still here at Sharm el-Sheikh and the COP27, and we are so much delighted to have something that is made for the very first time in Egypt and in COPs at all levels. We have with us for the first time the youth envoy for the COP president. And let me here introduce her, Omnia Omrani. Omnia, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Thank you so much. Let me know more about this, the specifications of what you do in the COP, particularly youth and envoy for the president or of the COP president. Tell me more about this.
Yes, sure. So in Egypt, because we have a strong commitment towards youth engagement and empowerment, we wanted to bring a meaningful change to how young people work with the presidency team at COP. And that is why for the first time a position was created to be the direct link between the needs, the challenges that young people face, as well as the solutions we have for climate change and for the broader COP process. And at the same time, I was appointed to do that, to prepare and to listen, holding diverse consultations in several countries, where I did a consultation in Gabon, followed by New York, and listening from the youth what are their needs and how can the presidency overcome their needs and overcome the barriers to their meaningful participation and integration of their voices at COP. And then during COP, there was the Conference of Youth that took place 2 days before COP. We had over 1,100 young people come from 149 countries, and in that we developed a global youth statement, which is the youth input to the COP process and to the negotiation. And together with the Yongo, the youth constituency, I organized 7 events to really bring in a COI to COP dialogue for the first time with the presidency, to really bring in the perspectives of youth directly into the negotiation process. I also helped facilitate the Children and Youth Pavilion, which is the first time in the history of COP that there is a dedicated youth-led space for the young people, organized by us, with sessions, workshops, as well as intergenerational dialogues between us and the prime ministers, the ministers, all the different key actors in Egypt.
Omnia, we are aware that the upcoming youth conference is or it will be held on by the end of this year, and this is a very important summit or conference that is taking place here on the land of peace at the sea, at the Red Sea of Sharm el-Sheikh. Omnia, engaging youth, raising their awareness of the challenges and the problems and the circumstances facing the country. As Egypt is putting the youth in its forefront priority, how do you view that, and how were you able to get in contact with participants here or participants here in this conference and know more and give them more or propagate Egypt's agenda?
I think I was very lucky because I've been working on climate change for 6 years. This is my 4th COP, and I had the opportunity to work with different youth-led groups on a global level and on the national level. And globally, we have the youth constituency, which is Yongo. I've also worked with different youth groups within UNICEF, Women Leaders for Planetary Health, as well as the Young Climate Activist Networks. And this facilitated, since my appointment, having a lot of strategizing meeting with them, virtually, in person, before we came here to COP. And I think here in Egypt, we also saw a strong presence of African youth, and this is so important and critical because for the past 6 years, COP was not in Africa, and there was a difficulty in accessing that. So this also had the responsibility on me and on all the different, on the presidency, to find meaningful ways to not just have them there or facilitate their sessions, but to also mainstream their inputs and their policy recommendations directly into the COP outcome. We also had the Youth and Future Generation Day, which is a dedicated space for young people, also for children and adolescents. We held a session for the first time specifically. We had children, young climate activists, sharing their actions in schools and their community. One of them is 13-year-old child from Colombia who wrote his own book on climate change, and then this was translated to Arabic and delivered to another Egyptian child to propagate that within their own curriculum. Because it's also important to acknowledge that it's not just about COP. COP is always the start or the midpoint between what we can do as young people and how can we influence our country's positions before COP, but then how can we follow up on our initiatives after COP and sustain the momentum.
Yes, indeed. And particularly COP, since we're speaking about today, we're struggling for our life. Tomorrow, you will be surviving for the surviving. So it's very much important here. And I guess good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Omnia Omrani, the COP envoy or the youth envoy to the COP president, we thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we'll be back with other interviews and other important developments here at the COP from Sharm el Sheikh. Thank you.